Short answer, yes, it's always better, but unfortunately, not necessarily for everyone. Here's why. Let's say Mr. Stick is stranded on an island along with Miss Stick, and they need to gather food and cut logs in order to survive. If Mr. Stick is better at gathering food, and Miss Stick is better at cutting logs, then they can each do what they do best and trade any surplus. A clear win for free trade. But what if Miss Stick, being the badass she is, has absolute advantage in both tasks? What's the point of her trading with Mr. Stick when she can do everything herself? David Ricardo, British politician, businessman, and one of very few economists who actually made a lot of money, proposed that even in such a lopsided relationship, both parties can benefit from trade. For example, let's assume it takes Mr. Stick 10 hours to cut one log, while it takes Miss Stick 9. And it takes Mr. Stick 12 hours to gather a basket of food, while it takes Miss Stick only 8. Clearly, Miss Stick has absolute advantage in both activities, since she can do both tasks in a shorter period of time compared to Mr. Stick. But even so, Mr. Stick sacrifices less than Miss Stick when it comes to cutting logs, because Mr. Stick only has to sacrifice 5/6 baskets of food to cut one log, compared to Miss Stick who has to sacrifice 9/8 baskets. On the other hand, Miss Stick sacrifices only 8/9 of a log to gather a basket of food, while Mr. Stick has to sacrifice 6/5 of a log. So comparatively, Mr. Stick has the advantage in cutting logs because he sacrifices only 5/6 baskets to cut logs, compared to Miss Stick who has to sacrifice 9/8 baskets. Now FYI, what you have to sacrifice in order to gain something is called an opportunity cost. So you can also say that Mr. Stick has the comparative advantage in cutting logs because his opportunity cost for cutting logs is less than that of Miss Stick's. And Miss Stick has the comparative advantage in gathering food because she sacrifices only 8/9 of a log to gather food, compared to Mr. Stick who has to sacrifice 6/5 of a log. Or put another way, Miss Stick has the comparative advantage in gathering food because her opportunity cost for gathering food is less than that of Mr. Stick's. Before any kind of trade, Mr. Stick will have to work a total of 22 hours to acquire one of each commodity, while Miss Stick will have to work 17. Let's see what happens if each individual focuses all their attention on the task they have the comparative advantage in. If Mr. Stick uses his 22 hours doing nothing but cutting logs, he can cut 2.2 logs. And if Miss Stick spends her 17 hours gathering nothing but food, she can gather 2.125 baskets of food. Now they need to trade, but at what rate? Since Mr. Stick can produce one log at the cost of sacrificing 5/6 baskets of food, he'll want to trade at a rate of at least 5/6 baskets of food for every log. And since Miss Stick can produce one basket of food at the cost of sacrificing 8/9 of a log, she'll want to trade at a rate of at least 8/9 of a log for every basket of food. So let's meet somewhere in the middle and say for example they trade one log per one basket of food. Mr. Stick can trade 1.1 logs for 1.1 baskets of Miss Stick's food, which means at the end of the day, Mr. Stick ends up with 1.1 logs and 1.1 baskets of food, while Miss Stick gets 1.1 logs and 1.025 baskets of food. Remember, before trade they only had one of each, but after specializing in the commodity they have the comparative advantage in, they each ended up with a surplus in both commodities, even though they didn't work any harder than before. So yes, free trade is always better. This is because while Mr. Stick can be absolutely bad at doing everything compared to Miss Stick, he will still be relatively better at doing something he's bad at. But if free trade is such a good thing, why are so many against it? Because if country A has comparative advantage in creating mobile apps and country B has comparative advantage in producing steel, country A has the incentive to specialize in creating mobile apps while importing steel from country B. In other words, layoffs for steelworkers in country A. You can, of course, argue that in the long run, steelworkers can switch jobs and learn how to code apps for smartphones. And while it's true that given enough time, people do move across industries to find new jobs, it's also true that in the long run, we're all dead. Stick science. Thank you for watching. Please like this video and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already.